certainly get plenty of analysis of that when people look at it later on. But the fact is, chances were missed today. Haaland in particular would have buried them on another day, but he didn't today. And in the end, that Raheem Sterling goal has earned Chelsea a point, and Rodri's late equaliser has at least stopped the Blues from losing. The Blues will stay third in the Premier League table. The final score, a quite extraordinary match. It finishes City 1, Chelsea 1. Well, let's go back to the studio where we can join Richard Dunne, Nicky Weaver and Cel Spellman.
So there we have it. Wow, what a breathtaking end to the second half there. It is finished all level. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1. A Rodri equaliser means that City secure 1 point. What a game of football, though. Young Cole Palmer there as well, of course, familiar to City fans. The other goal scorers, another one we'll know. Raheem Sterling scored for Chelsea in the first half. It was a tough second half, but an all-important goal from Rodri made sure it was not 3 points dropped, and in fact, a very important point secured. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 1, full-time here at the Etihad Stadium. Joining me in the studio, Nicky Weaver and Richard Dunne. Nicky, I mean, for a 1-1, what a game of football.
Yeah, obviously it's not the result that all City fans wanted, but yeah, an absolute and thoroughly 1-1. We didn't think it was going to be as end-to-end as it was. You know, Chelsea caused us problems in the first half and the beginning of the second half. Edison's made a fantastic save to keep it at 1-0, and then City were pushing. We get the equaliser, and then they kept pushing more. Chelsea defended for their lives, and we just couldn't find that, you know, finish at the end to get City over the line. But yeah, possibly a fair result in the end, but you know, Chelsea certainly defended for their lives, and you know, opportunity missed for City.
Absolutely, and it was, but I guess given, I mean, at one point during that second half, Richard, I kind of felt I didn't know where the equalising goal was going to come from. So kind of at that point I go, well, actually getting a point is far more important than actually having lost the game entirely, which I guess will be the spin we'll need to put on it. And we win our game in hand, we're only a point behind Liverpool.
Yeah, and we have to play them, which is going to be the most important game anyway. So it's I mean, it wasn't as free-flowing as we normally see from City, and that credit has to go to Chelsea for that, because they, like Nicky says, they defended so well. They made it hard. There was no spaces. It ended up with Bruyne having to stay wider to try and cross the balls in, and then defensively they headed them away really well. So you start to look and go, like you are, where's the goal coming from? Yeah. And in the end, it's not a perfect goal. It's a scrappy goal, a knockdown, and it comes flying in, and a deflection. But they're the important points I think managers will look back on at the end of the season and go, we've won the league because of that, because we probably weren't at our best. Played against a good team who was performing really well. We still managed to get something. We still probably created chances in the second half to go and win the game, but it wasn't to be. But you don't lose it, you pick up a point and you move on, and I think that's the way they have to look at it, because it's not an awful performance. It's a really good performance by Chelsea. City maybe not at their quickest best, but they still get a point, and that's the sign of champions, that they can dig in and find a way to score a goal, and they manage it.
And I guess as well, that's also important, isn't it? We're so used to seeing, you know, City here at the Etihad blow teams away, but it's not always going to be like that. And you come up against a solid team like Chelsea today. Actually, it's never going to be a walk in the park, and I think sometimes we can forget that as fans a little bit. Sometimes we think we can maybe blow every team away 3-4-5, and that's not going to happen.
I think Pep spoke about it in the week, didn't he? You know, people think it's easy. Winning a football match in the Premier League isn't easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming up against a team like Chelsea, who have spent, you know, £1 billion. Chelsea played really well. And they frustrated City at times. You know, they went defensive towards the end, which is fair enough for them. And once we got the equaliser, you know, we thought we were going to kick on and get the winner, but it just didn't quite happen. But like Dunne said, you know, you can't just expect to come here every week and turn up. And like I said, Rich said, it is a point earned. I don't think it's 2 points dropped.
Agreed.
Before the game, you'd expected City to win. It wasn't quite to be. And it's on to Brentford now, and you've got to pick up maximum points in that one.
I want to go like almost to the final moments of the game. There was a foray in the box. and there was a possible penalty shout. It went to VAR for a Collywell handball. We saw some pictures back here in the studio. Just wanted to get your thoughts, gents. Richard, it was a bit of a funny one, really, wasn't it?
It was, because of the movement of the arm is towards the ball sort of thing. I'm a bit old school in the sense I don't think it's a penalty, because he can't really get his arm out of the way. Once it touches it, he moves his body to try and it hits it. So the letter of the law with VAR and all that stuff, it's a penalty in my view. I'm not glad it wasn't given, but you would hate to see them given every week.
Yeah.
He had a really good match, Colwell. Him and Disasi at centre back were outstanding, and they didn't deserve that at the end. We wanted it to be a penalty. We wished it was a penalty, but in the fairness of the game, he would probably be thankful that the referee doesn't give it.
Absolutely, Nicky. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was last week, Sheffield United Luton. There were 2 penalties that I don't think were penalties in that game, and this was a similar sort of one. I don't think personally it's a penalty, but I think by the rules, it's sort of. I think he's got a grip of Diaz's shirt to start with, and then it sort of hit his arm, and as he turned, it's hit his arm again. I don't think it's a penalty, but we've seen similar ones given. Yeah. And yeah, it'd have been nice to get a penalty in the last minute, but it would have been harsh on Chelsea.
We've been saying, actually, a lot of credit to the way Chelsea came here and performed, one offensively, particularly in the first half. They definitely had the better chances and defended well. I just wondered, though, could you put your finger on why maybe City weren't also at the free-flowing best, taking nothing away from Chelsea, but was there anything today that just meant kind of City weren't at the races almost, Richard?
It's hard to put a finger on it. The first thing you look at is the opposition and what did they do when they just blocked the whole centre of the field. Yeah. Made it really difficult, and we've seen Akanji move into midfield and he's done it really well at times. I thought today it didn't look as natural for him as it does for John Stones. So potentially when it's not your day and you're coming inside and taking maybe 2 or 3 touches that you don't need to do and it can be done in 1 or 2, that maybe makes a difference and slows the game down a bit. So you end up getting forced wide. You've got Foden wide who wants to come back inside all the time, so the pitch is really narrow. Yes. Same with Doku on this side, he wants to drive inside all the time. So the pitch just becomes very narrow, and that's City are at the best when they can stretch teams, make open spaces, leave those spaces for De Bruyne, and it would have been Silva normally or someone like that to get in, but yeah, Chelsea just closed it up. So try and find, the City players would probably feel we're probably all 7 out of 10 instead of the normal 8 or 9 out of 10, so they weren't at their maximum. But you can only look, that Chelsea team have been destroyed by the media, by everybody, by their fans. They've been talked about as the worst Chelsea team ever, so they're hurt, they're wounding, and they want to put on performances, especially at a place like this, on a big Sunday evening kick-off. Everyone's watching, and they've been really, really good, Chelsea. And you have to, you can't criticise City because they done the best they could. Yes. Chelsea just didn't allow them to find any spaces or any rhythm through the game.
They didn't, and but though when it came to Bernardo Silva was brought on, that was the change for Julian Alvarez, brought Bernardo into the middle. Then we seemed to kind of start pushing, and for the Rodri goal, it was like it was a flurry in the box, and was it a deflection? I think it was. I
think it deflected off Trevor Chalobah at the end. I think it was going in anyway. To be fair, we've seen him do it a few times this year, late goals. I remember one early on in the season against Sheffield United when he won it late on. So yeah, City certainly deserved that, and they were pushing for it. But yeah, ultimately we just couldn't find that. I think we just missed that sort of killer pass today and that final cross. And having said that, Haaland missed a great chance with his head. It was stooping down, and he should have, 19 times out of 20 he scores that, and it could have been a different game. But we didn't quite take our chances. We didn't quite have that, ruthless enough and clinical enough in front of goal. Partly that's down to Chelsea for their, brave defending and putting the bodies on the line. And the goalkeeper's not had too many saves to make. No. It's because he's been protected well by his back four in front of him. So credit to Chelsea for the defending. And like Dunne said, it's not like City have had a bad day. It's just they've not quite hit the heights that they normally do. But it is a reminder that you shouldn't just turn up every week expecting City to win, because winning a game of football, especially against a good side like Chelsea, is very difficult.
Absolutely. I think as well that'll put Rodri on like 55 games now unbeaten, so he's managed to, he's keeping his record intact. And as we said, a point gained. Now we turn to our game in hand, which is against Brentford on Tuesday. Matchday Live will of course be with you. And I guess actually you can kind of go into that and go, look, let's get back to winning ways there. I think it's the second time we played them in 15 days or something, but 3 points there, and you're a point off top, and then all of a sudden, huge month in March, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, the games in March are huge. They're really important games against big sides, making them big games. But this is the one to set you up for that, I suppose. And City, I mean, the norm, they would go and beat Brentford. We've seen Brentford. I don't think Brentford are at the same level as they have been in the previous 2 or 3 seasons. I think they've probably fallen off a little bit and teams are able to get at them a little bit easier. But still, with Tony in the team, they're a threat from set pieces and like that. He can work his magic, whether it be winning a free kick or scoring a free kick. He's a vitally important player for them. But you would expect. You've seen Haaland walking off the pitch, how angry and frustrated he was at those opportunities that he's missed. He can't wait, I bet, to play Brentford on Tuesday. Yeah. All he wants to do is score goals. So hopefully for him, he gets back on the mark, and you would expect City to win the game. You
would indeed. And I wondered, though, is there something in, I know we're used to in Europe playing, you know, a team maybe within 14 days of each other, you know, the reverse leg. Very rare it happens in the Premier League. Is there something in that or not really?
You know, obviously we sort of went behind at their place and obviously ended up being comfortable winners. I expect City to be comfortable winners on Tuesday. But they have been here, you know, in recent times and caused an upset. Like Richard said, they're not quite the Brentford of old, but with Tony back in the team, you know, they will make it difficult, but it is a game I fully expect City to win. And unlike today, I do expect them to have full control of the game.
Yeah.
But they've got to be ruthless and clinical in front of goal.
Yeah, and I wondered, and this is a question for you both, just because I can't remember really actually watching a game here at the Etihad and it feeling so close, and actually there was points there where I thought we're going to drop points. I can't really remember that happening. Is there a blueprint there maybe for teams further down the line when they come to the Etihad or face City to try and follow maybe?
I think there is, but what you've got to remember is Chelsea have got the league positions are almost false because they've got some quality players.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't see Brentford coming and setting up the same as Chelsea. And you're a brave team to do that. You've got to get the right balance between being a little bit cautious and not too adventurous, because if you're too adventurous against City, they will pick you off. Chelsea have been adventurous today, but they're a good side and they've got good players. So I don't think we're going to see a blueprint for every team come in and do that. But it does show if you do get at City, they can be vulnerable. Edison's had to make, you know, a double save midway through the second half to keep it at 1-0. So, you know, it could have been a lot worse than a point today.
Yeah, it could have indeed. And one thing we know with this City squad, with this manager, is the reaction and the fact that maybe a draw at home might feel like a loss. It just shows the standards that's set, but we know that there'll be players in that changing room ready to bounce back, Richard.
Absolutely, and I mean, we're all a little bit disappointed with the result, and you think, yeah, it wasn't really at the best. On another day, Haaland could have scored a hat-trick and the game finishes 4-1. For how well Chelsea defended, he's missed 2 really good headers, and the keeper's made a great save off another one. So the chances were still there. It was just one of those days where that final ball wasn't going in the goal, or the keepers were making saves, defenders were diving all over the place, blocking stuff. So there is a blueprint in terms of you can counter-attack City. Chelsea have defended as well as they defended all season and still conceded 4 or 5 good chances that City would normally take. So I just think come the match on Tuesday night, it'll just be the same thing. City won't change their way. They know how to win the Premier League. They know how to win trophies, how to win games. They'll just continue as normal, and you're not going to get too many days where the chances like today were missed. It won't happen again.
No, not at all. And there's nothing for me to worry about, Nicky, when the last team I think to beat us here at the Etihad was Brentford.
Nothing to worry about whatsoever. Listen, you know, we fully expect City to get back to winning ways. They need to, because they don't want that gap sort of open up at the top. But, you know, if you asked me before the game, I said we're going to win the league. If you ask me after the game, I still say we're going to win the league.
Lovely stuff. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up there. A massive thank you, as always, to all of you at home for watching. Thank you to our guests, Richard, and to Nicky as well. Absolute treat to have you both in the studio. And don't forget as well, if you want to be in with a chance to win a pair of boots signed by Jack Grealish, we're going to reveal the winner here. To find out, go to mancity.com/feed, and we'll be revealing the winner on some shows further down the line. Don't forget as well, I'll be with you on Tuesday, and then I'm also going to be joining you for a special match day live show in our women's derby taking place here in Manchester. Big game, of course, level on points with Chelsea. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled and get online for some tickets as well while you're signing up for them Jack Grealish boots. Have a lovely evening, enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Good night.